in the world of Instagram and YouTube and all of the above. And we get to share with everyone the story behind this beautiful book, Do Not Disclose. It's not your first. How many books in by now?
I think it's my fifth.
Your fifth?
Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, it's like, you know, I'm going to start off by saying, everybody, I have to introduce you to her. I have loved getting to know Leora. She's one of those bright lights that caught my attention from the very first, you know, room. We had our cohort meeting, and I said, I have to get to know this lady. So it's a good thing to bring all of you into this place to have a conversation today around your memoir. It's not even a novel, but it reads like a novel. It's like, wow, this is storytelling, but this is your life, which is even more incredible. So we can all celebrate you and your important work. A Kirkus starred review, like you said, the fifth book that you've now written, bringing that out to the world too. So let me introduce your bio, which is incredible. And that is something I want to point out. We all see the book, we all see the name of the author, but the story behind this particular name as to what made her who she is as she sits here and helps her bring her why to the table is all that comes before. So she's a former Los Angeles Superior Court Juvenile Division judge. Just let that sit out there for a second. She's the author of When She Sleeps, a Toby Press book, which was lauded for its luminous prose by Newsweek. Let's just set that one out there. And praised by Booklist, Library Journal, and Kirkus. It was also a New York Public Library selection for best books for the teen age. Okay, let's put that out there because she's writing to a teen audience is a special kind of storyteller that you actually engage that group set, which is really kind of challenging at most, but the fact that your luminous prose reached them, bravo to you, Leora, amazing. She's also the author of Juvenile Court, a judge's guide for young adults and their parents, Rowan Littlefield, and Keep Her, She Writes Press, a young adult novel reviewed as vibrantly dazzling literary cocktail. Okay, let's put that out there. I love this. That's a vibrantly dazzling literary cocktail on the restorative powers of love. She lives in Los Angeles now with her husband, David. Oh my God. Good afternoon, Leora. Thank you for joining us today. This is just an honor of mine.
Thank you for having me. I mean, you're an amazing butterfly. That's all I can say. I mean, really, I feel your energy even here in Los Angeles on a dreary morning. I feel the energy.
Well, I can tell you this. I find myself wanting to be in rooms with people who have like energy. So the compliment goes right back to you. You know, like I said, you're another one of my favorite She Writes sisters, and I'm so honored to have you join me today. I wanted to read a bit of a summary around your last book, even though all the rest of them I have to grab onto because, my God, I mean, just the dazzling literary cocktail alone, I see myself drinking a mojito sitting on the beach and enjoying my day there. So maybe that'll happen when I come back to LA for sure. You know, on the restorative powers of love, which is always something that I'm interested in building up more from a place of love. So let me read the bit of a synopsis of your book. So it's a memoir. Remember this, everyone. Leora, a juvenile court judge, wife, mother, and daughter, is caught in the routine of work, taking care of her family and aging parents, but she's also a second-generation Holocaust survivor. It's an identity she didn't understand was hers until she accidentally discovered a secret file of handwritten notes addressed to her father. A further discovery of a seemingly random World War II postcard in a thrift store sets her on a collision course with the past in this lyrical memoir about secrets hidden within secrets, both present day and buried deep within wartime Europe. Okay, as I'm reading this, I'm getting goosebumps because I love synchronicities, Leora. I can't get away from the fact that there is this divine thread that goes into and out of our lives that, if we're paying attention, are like the secrets that'll open up everything for all of us. Hello, Chris, and hello, Leslie. How are you guys all today? So, tell me, Leora, I just have to write this one. 20 years in the making.
Yeah, you know, this thing happened to me in 2003 where, I'm coming home from work and, it's one of those awful days in court and I don't know what to do with myself and I don't want to go home. And, I accidentally go into a thrift shop and I feel like my whole life is about accidents because I'm the accidental lawyer and the accidental judge. But anyway, I go into this thrift shop. I find this postcard, and I say to myself as a challenge, do you think you could find the person who wrote this, 50, 70 years ago? And I went on this crazy journey, this wild goose chase of a year, never understanding why the heck I did it. I just, even years later, it took me 20 years to figure out that this looking into the past of some stranger was really my desire to look into my own past. And I guess I'm a slow learner because it took me 20 years to figure it out.
Well, I always think that it's right on time, because this is a timely piece right now that came out at a perfect time for the story to reach the most vast audience who's needing to hear it at this point. And certainly right now when we're having a world who's challenging even the veracity of the Holocaust, hello, that's crazy. So the fact that your story is getting out there and that it impacts you directly for certain is a beautiful testament to the 20 years of resilience it took you to bring the story to life. First, the baby, so to speak. I always laugh. 20 years to have a baby? I don't think so. But write a book? Yes, absolutely. So let me ask about you because I really do. Okay, so I am a bit of an author stalker, and I do enjoy learning more about this accidental judge, accidental lawyer, accidental. But I don't think writing was accidental for you. I think that is clearly maybe the vocation that you've been striving for throughout, because there's a writing theme throughout both of those positions that you had, in the beginning. But now you're embodying this author role. Tell me about that.
That's very true. I think, for me was since really the age of 6 and 7, when I was writing little poems and I call them micro autobiographies because, how much can you write as a 7-year-old? It was really important to me. I think because of my Holocaust background, because of my father, I always felt like I wanted to leave something behind. Even at that young age, there was a strong impetus to accomplish something and to leave something behind, because I knew that there were so many people who didn't, have the chance to leave something behind. I felt it. I still feel it. It's something within me. It's sort of coursed through my veins my entire life, and it's still with me now when I read the news, when I read about Buffalo, when I read about Charlottesville, when I read about all this going on in the world, all this hate. It's something that has, I think, defined me throughout my life. Yeah.
Beautiful. I wanted to say what's coming up for me is kind of like the advocacy role that you have. Now you're advocating for those lost souls who didn't have a chance to tell their story. And the reality is, how it came through in this particular book, Do Not Disclose, was shrouded in secrecy, but it came to light at the perfect time for you. How vulnerable did it feel for you to tell this? I can't imagine, because there's a whole story behind the story that you just didn't know until you knew.
Right. But, you feel, first of all, I wrote this book first off as a novel because I wanted to hide behind the novel. It was much easier to do that. Make up character names and make up all kinds of stuff about them. As a writer, it's a lot easier. But when I read it again and again, it didn't ring true for me. And I said, I have to buck up and not pretend. And this is my story. It's not some character story. So I think when I realized that, that that was the moment of birth, you know, when I realized that I couldn't write this as a novel, that I had to say, you know, I tried on certain people not to put last names because I didn't want to hurt them, but you know, there was still a lot of fallout, family fallout, as there is in memoirs. So you know, still feeling the fallout, but it's good. You know, I feel like I said my truth. And, you know, when you say your truth, you're stronger, you know?
Beautiful. And it must have been so interesting because you sat as a judge for many years, and the whole point is to get to the truth, right? And to thinking about you hiding behind, other characters, I can't imagine that, and especially because you're trained to try to get to the truth. Who's telling the truth here? So I think that's where your pre-story, right, comes to light to make this even a better storyteller, that you are a better storyteller because of it. And so let me ask you, the publishing journey from beginning to now, this is your fifth book. How was it different this time around than the first four?
The first few books, I used a friend as a PR person. And it was really a labor of love, between the two of us. She was amazing. As you progress, you feel like you have to use a bigger firm, you have to go out there. And of course, the first book that I published, there was no real internet. There was no social media. There was only, an article or a book review somewhere, in a newspaper somewhere. So it's a whole different thing to try to apply yourself to social media, to Instagram, to Facebook, to now even TikTok or whatever. Luckily, I love Instagram because I love to take photographs. That's my second passion. So for me, posting pictures and little reels and little stories is fun. I do it for fun. I don't feel like I have to do it. But it's a different journey now. I mean, and every writer has to be their own advocate, and they better be, because they're the ones that have to do the work.
Well, and also after 20 years, certainly the fire must have been lit, but here I am, the story. But back to your point with social media, though, I do find, like, we would not be sitting here having this conversation, if it were not for the avenues to get my friends' stories out there, which I think is profound because first and foremost, everyone they say negative connotations. You're on it all the time, you're not paying attention, oh my God. But the reality is, this is a great place to have your voice heard in a positive light if you choose, if your intention is that. So back to you in the publishing journey. What are the beautiful, lovely takeaways that you're getting now as you come around your fifth book? It'll be published in a year in August of 2021 now, correct? So
right.
you still have 2022. You still have some time before your first year is complete. What have you found the biggest gifts of this experience?
Connecting with people, hearing their own stories. When I started talking to my own friends and other people who, I don't even know, who say, I have a secret in my family, and, they felt comfortable sharing it with me, which was amazing because maybe these are people that I've known for years and years, and they don't say a word because they feel ashamed. They feel, that they have to keep it inside. But all of a sudden, because I was able to be truthful with my story, I've heard lots of stories about, my father, he was in Korea and he had an affair, and I have a Korean half brother or something or other like that. So, when you open yourself up and you make yourself vulnerable, Good things happen. Sometimes bad things happen, but you can take it because, again, also, as you said, Meg, I was ready for it. I was ready. I probably wasn't ready 10 years ago. I probably wasn't ready, 5 years ago, but I'm ready now. Maybe it's age, maybe it's experience, life experience, but I was ready and I'm happy I did it. I don't regret 1 second.
And, interestingly enough, I think there's so much healing that can happen when you give others permission to step away from their shame. And I think that is, like you're saying, the secrets are out there. Okay, what are you going to do to me now, right? I just put my memoir out there, my story's out there. What are you going to do with me now? It's like, okay, what do you do? I had the balls to do it, or whatever, like I'm listening to a female, so, I have the guts to put my truth out there, hopefully to help someone else, that is my intention, like what's going to happen next. So back to you with regard to all of this. I know that you said at the outset that some bad things, like as far as, the airing the dirty laundry in the family and people getting like kind of disturbed or whatever. But
right.
What were the good things that came from your own family experience? I know your daughter and you had a wonderful, I'm not going to tell me anything because I won't, but, that certainly seems like those, when they talk about they're generational curses, and I don't see it as a curse. I don't see that unless we hold it that way. It's our perspective, but it's a freedom to just, like you say, own your authenticity. So go back to your own experience in your own family, in your integrated family unit. How has that been a blessing? The storytelling been a blessing?
Well, first of all, my children, I also have an older son, have been very supportive. And of course, Talia, who was part of this journey, who's a mother now herself, a mother of 2 and going to be a mother of 3 very soon. I think it meant a lot to her to be part of it. And another extra bonus to this is, again, talking about leaving something behind. I am now a grandma of 4 and going to be 5. And I say to myself, when I'm gone, and we all will be gone, right? When I'm gone, this will stay. And my grandchildren will be able to read something about me and their family that maybe they didn't know or they didn't understand. And so it's a legacy too, to leave a memoir like that. You never know how it will touch them, or it maybe hopefully inspire them. I mean, that's a hope. But you want your children and your grandchildren to know who you are and who you were. So I think that's part of the big bonus of this, of leaving a memoir rather than a novel,
Fascinating story as well as that's just so special, and it really is, because legacy becomes really, really important after a while. I remember, someone asked me once why I'm so bold in my life, and I go, well, have you met the people in my family? Nobody's hiding and like nobody's sitting behind a rock and saying, oh, should I? They're like, do it. My mother was a powerhouse. She's like, nobody's going to tell my female 3 daughters that they can't do anything that a male can do. Like my father would have been like, just, get your degree and then have a family and be done. But my mother's like, no, these are my children. They have a voice. They're here for a vocation, a calling. And that is what the gift you give to your 5 soon to be 5 grandchildren is. Right. That space for them not to question what if, but when. And I love that. And because you are, and I want to share this because I think it's beautiful, because you spoke to that point that you like pictures. And of course, for me, I love pictures. And I want to find, I know the picture, is it in the book? For whatever reason, I think it was the one of you at the Niagara Falls pictures in the book, right? It's in here.
What is this?
Wasn't there a picture at the end? Didn't you include a picture at the end of your book? No.
Oh, no. There's the picture. Oh, it's on my website. There's a picture on the book of me between my mother and my father's mistress in Niagara Falls. And at the end of the book, I actually go to Niagara Falls and I sit on the same little column on a bridge, which took me a long time to find out where the heck this was. And it was like my triumph. Like, here I am. I survived this crazy story, you know, and I'm alone. My mom's not here. Nobody's here, but I'm alone and I am strong. I'm okay.
Say it again. You survived what you think is going to kill you, basically, this crazy story.
Right.
I swear to God, I thought it was in your book. I must have seen it on your webpage or something.
Probably it was on the webpage or something, yeah.
In my head, I saw you there between those two people with your little hat and your little coat. That's just adorable beyond adorable. I can't, I mean, you write so well that I can imagine that I saw it in my mind's eye too, but by the way, but I'm like, I think it's up, I thought. But the reality is that you're stronger than you thought you were.
Right.
That's probably why you align with me so well, because I love women who realize their own empower by being empowered. So back to this wonderful journey. First of all, congratulations on telling the story, because it's so beautifully written. Like I said, it feels like it already was a movie in my, like, look, I'm already imagining, I saw a picture somewhere, but I've seen it because you wrote it so well. And I love that and I was like, why can't we see movies like this in the world? Like, I always think, because that would make me happy to go and, celebrate a story of triumph, because you actually spent the 20 years with the postcard, by the way, because I'm not even going to get into that, but that certainly comes to fruition. How, art imitates life. That's the life imitating art. It's so.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I want to say one thing, journey too, is the fact that I'm so proud to be amongst such an amazing rising of women writers. When I was growing up, when I was 7 and 8 and 9 and going to the library to gobble up books, there were very few books by women writers. Very few. We overlook that now because, wow, there's an explosion of women writers now. But I was there when there wasn't. And I used to think, how could I ever be a writer, an author? Because don't you have to be like an old alcoholic man, right? And I'm not alcoholic and I'm not a man. So, I can't be Ernest Hemingway because, that's not me. But we've come so far. And this is wonderful. This is something we can give our daughters too.
Incredible point to set out there is that don't take it for granted how other people broke down those walls by virtue of them stepping out, that we give ourselves the permission to do so too, and that we support each other as well. Just laughing as alcoholic man. Yeah, I mean, listen, don't live with a multiple amount of cats in a house over by Key West. But the bottom line is that everybody has a story to tell, and beautifully told if you choose to do so. And you did that, and certainly you are in of it yourself empowering other people by virtue of you opening that space. And I always intend to do that, to highlight those spaces so other creatives can come and play in the sandbox together, right?
Absolutely. I welcome all the players into the sandbox. Keep coming.
Funny because in this capacity, doing what we're doing now, having these conversations, you the judge, me perhaps the prosecutor, no one's scared of us, because literally we've taken that step, to open that vulnerability of our lives to share with others. So then it becomes, maybe I can do that too, is a question that goes through someone's mind. Certainly with your 5 grandchildren, almost 5, they'll see that and they'll be proud of the woman who they're related to, and that, I mean, there could be no other greater honor than to have people in your life following in the legacy of your feet, you're following in your shoes. So I one of the things I love to highlight, because like favorite moments, when these masterpieces come out, since it came out in August of 2021, you had some time, like what is a favorite moment of yours that you can look back and say, God, can't believe that happened. This is amazing.
You mean during this year? I was happy to have like I didn't have a lot of open events because of COVID. We were sort of Delta or I don't know, some kind of variant. But I had it at the Skirball Museum, which is beautiful. And it's kind of an open air place. It's a place where my daughter was married, and I just felt the love. It was nice. It was the first time, I have to say, that I allowed myself to give myself a party.
Oh, I love it. Hey, listen, you can always give yourself a party when you feel the need.
I just, as I told you, I think before in the conversation, before we went on live, I was always the girl who sat on the last row, never raised their hand, always very quiet, waiting for people to call on me and hoping they wouldn't. And so for me to give myself a party was like a big deal. And that was a great moment, and I also, what I did at that party, and I felt really good about it, was that all the proceeds of the book sales on that day went to my mother's Academy of Vocal Arts, where she studied in Philadelphia to become an opera singer.
That's right. So that's right. Your mother was a very talented opera singer, which is what a beautiful, beautiful gift that you could give back to something that was so important to her as well.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure how, my mother passed away, and I wasn't sure how she'd feel about this book. But I felt like I gave her voice in this book too, and it would be, and she got a full scholarship for, her years, and it was the happiest time in her life. So this was my way of giving back to the place that made her the happiest in her life.
That's beautiful. And I'm sure she's smiling wherever she finds herself so closely.
I hope so.
I love that. I love that constant, the giving and receiving, the circle of life, how we do this to heal the past as well as, present a different future. So Leslie's saying that she's the girl who's sitting in the back of the class. But the difference between you guys and me is that I'm like, come on, you can sit in the back seat. Just come with me anyway. Come with me anyway. Like, and in a good time, I'll get you talking for sure. But, the gift.
Meg, you were my girlfriend in 6th grade who brought me to the front of the class. You were that girl.
Come on, let me know your story. Awesome. Oh my God, did you hear about Leora? That is like how I love being. Because truth be told, I was bullied incessantly. And I'm like, why are you bullying me? I'm so magical. Why? I don't understand. I don't get it. But the reality is, people who are insecure themselves and feel bad about themselves, they're the ones who are trying to make themselves more comfortable by putting you down. The bottom line is, we do so much better by bringing each other up, for sure. And I certainly want to be in that company. I would be at your party. You come to my party. We'll all celebrate all of this, because there's nothing better than going through something that's really like a struggle in life, coming out the other end, and someone saying, God, I'm so grateful you shared that experience so I don't have to go through it myself, right? Or that I'm not alone. And I think that, that's incredibly powerful. And thank you, because like you said, many people out there need to hear that, sometimes secrets are not going to be the end of you. It is like not. And you will be the triumphant little girl who's sitting where you were at the outset, on that bench saying, I did it. And that would be your closure moment, which I think is really how a lot of our stories kind of align. Because I found myself at the Lighthouse, you found yourself at Niagara. But these are like these moments in time where we can actually look back and say, so what am I going to do with my life from here on, right?
Right.
So what do you do with your life from here on? What's next? I told you I was going to ask this, so I'm going to ask you what next is for you.
I don't know. I'm fiddling around with 2 projects, but as you know, sometimes you just need a nice long break, and to just have, and even when you're in a break, you're in a thinking process, but you're not typing, you're not writing. So I'm trying to see what's next. There's something percolating. There's a couple, one, and of course they both have to do with some research, because I'm a research nerd. But yeah, we shall see. We shall see.
I find the wonderful synchronicities of the universe. I love this story about you and me, our connection. I think I found out more about your wins before you did. So I would always say, Leora, you got the Kirkus Start Review, congratulations. Leora, you got the Midwest Review, congratulations. And now I say, Leora, you can't hide anymore because we all need to hear from you. So congratulations on the entire journey. My intention was to bring you out so that people can see you, the beauty of you, and to hear your story too, which is really the gift that we all benefit from. And certainly around, a time in this world where it may seem dark for many because of people losing their minds, white supremacy is back, whatever, never gone away. But the reality is there's more of us than is of them. The light will always win. So I would love for you to speak to that.
I love that the light will win. We have to win. We have to win. And I'm grateful to my parents who named me Leora, which means in Hebrew, my light.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, I absolutely love that. And you are definitely a light, and I'm with you. And certainly with regard to you writing about the restorative power of love, and was so highlighted in that wonderful review as well. I can't wait to see what other love offerings you have for all of us in the future. Tomorrow even, who knows? Or maybe when I get to go to LA and meet you myself. But the bottom line is I'm so proud, like I said, to know you and honored to have this conversation. And, at the end of the day, we are who we surround ourselves with, we choose to. And I am so grateful to have you in that sandbox with me. Hit us up with a final inspiration, Leora, the light.
And you're my inspiration too, Meg. Butterflies forever. Love you. Thank you.
All right, everybody, I want you to go get her book. It is Do Not Disclose. You are going to be very grateful. You're going to thank me. It's a wonderful, wonderful book. It's her memoir. It's her gift. And then, oh my God, how did I not see this? It's on the front cover. The picture's on the front cover. Oh my God. There it is. It's the picture where she was speaking to. But go on her website and you'll see the picture of her on the bench at the end of her writing journey to basically say, guess what? I'm stronger than I thought I was. And from this point on, it's a different story, a story where you get to bring other people along with you. So, Leora, thank you again. I love you all. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Amazing Author. She is definitely an amazing author, and I am grateful once again. So have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll look forward to the next episode with all of you as well. Thank you guys for coming. Have a wonderful
Thank you. Bye.